Hi, I'm Davin from Brewbitz.com. Behind the camera we've got James. Say hello, James. Today I thought we would brew up a Solomon Grundy 7-day wine kit. Now, Solomon Grundy wine kits come in various different ranges. We've got a classic range, which is the cheapest. We've got a country range, which is all your elderflower and all your elderberry wines, etc. We've got your gold range, which is what we're going to brew up today, and we've also got your platinum range. They're all 7-day wine kits, and they all work on a very similar process. The only difference really is the quality of wine that you're going to get out at the end. You go for the cheaper kits, you're going to get a slightly lesser quality wine. You go for the more expensive kits, you're going to get a better quality wine at the end. So we're going to plump for the gold kit, and we'll go from here. So what are you going to need to be able to brew the Solomon Grundy Gold kit? So this one's a Chardonnay. There also come in different varieties that you can brew up as well, and you just need to have a quick look at the ingredients that you're going to need, because some kits need slightly different ingredients. But as for the equipment, you're always going to need 2 buckets. You're going to need a big spoon. You're going to need a siphon. We're also going to require a thermometer, a hydrometer. Don't pop this one in. Nice little glass thing. Very careful, they're made of glass, easily breakable. We're going to need some bottles at the end of it, as well as some corks and something to cork it with, so I've got my trusty corker. You're also going to need something to sterilise everything with, which is, here I'm using a sodium metabisulfate, or you can use a chlorine-based steriliser. This little bit though that I forgot to mention, that's my trial jar, which is what the hydrometer bounces up and down and tells you whether your wine's finished fermenting or not. Obviously we've got the Solomon Grundy kit, and there's lots of ingredients in there, but one of the other things you're going to need is sugar. Now this is depending on the kit that you're going to do. Some kits will ask you to use more sugar than others. This Chardonnay kit is asking me to use 3 kilos. Okay, so shall we see what's inside the box? So inside the box, first thing we've got is a big bottle of grape concentrate. We've also got our instructions. We've got a bag of Chardonnay flavouring, and then we've got a few bags of a few other things. So we've got some chitosan, and we've got 2 little packets here, slightly pearlescent, of something called Kieselguhr salt. It's all part of the finings, and that's what we're going to use a little bit later to actually clear our wine. We've got a big packet of Yeast Nutrient, because just like us, we all need vitamins to help keep us going, and that's what that is. There's our wine yeast as well, which we'll need to get all the fermentation going. And lastly, we've got a pack of stabiliser. So now we've got all our ingredients, let's get brewing. The first thing we're going to do with our Solomon Grundy kit is we're going to boil up 5 litres of water. And we're going to put that into a bucket. So I've got my kettle already on the boil. Now my kettle only does about 2 litres at a time, so I'm going to need to boil it up a couple of times until I've got my 5 litres. Right, my kettle's finished boiling for the 3rd time. And there we go, we're up to the 5 litre mark on our bucket. So now we need to add our 3 kilos. I'm doing white wine, a Chardonnay here. Of course, if you're doing a red wine, you might need to use 4 kilos. Check on your instructions. So right, first kilo goes in. Be careful, you don't want to get any splashback. Remember, it's boiling water. One kilo. Two kilos. And lastly, here's your 3rd. Now I'm just using granulated sugar here. because this is probably what you're most likely to do at home. But ideally, you should be using brewing sugar, slightly different, and gives a slightly better result. But what we need to do now is we need to stir in our sugar fully until it's all dissolved. Now, if you can hear that, and you can feel some grittiness and some grating sounds, that's basically telling you that there's still sugar left in your liquid that needs to be dissolved. So keep going until you feel no more grittiness and you can no longer feel the sugar between the spoon and the bucket. Okay, that's all dissolved. So the next thing we need to do is we need to get our bottle of a grape concentrate. Pop that open. Come on. There we go. And we need to pour this straight in. Again, careful not to splash it because it's boiling water in there. All of it goes in. Lovely. And I can see there's still some juice remaining, so I'm literally going to pop a bit of cold water in, give it a good swish. Get that in. I'm just going to do it one more time to make sure I put everything. Lovely. Then give it a quick stir and make sure it's all stirred in. The next thing I need to do is to bring our bucket's contents up to 23 litres or 5 gallons. And we're going to do that with cold water. And I've got an extended tap which makes my life a lot easier. So in it goes and we bring it up to 5 gallons, 23 litres with the cold water. So I finished topping up our bucket to the 5 gallons or 23 litres. Come on in, James, have a look at this. What we need to do now is just give it a good stir, make sure it's all mixed in. So I can feel there's nice, thick, syrupy liquid down at the bottom, which is all our sugar. And on top there was a lot of just water. So it's all mixed in nicely now. Cool, lovely, all done. I've now taken a sample in our trial jar, and this is now going to give me the specific gravity, and we can use this later when we take the specific gravity to make sure it's finished fermenting, and we can do a quick calculation between the two figures, and that tells us exactly how much alcohol is in our wine. Now this is coming out at 1.070, so I'm going to note that down in my little book. You do the same. And then we can do a little calculation at the end to find out how much alcohol we've got. From your box now then you need to get your big packet of Yeast Nutrient. Gently tear that open. And I didn't quite get that right. Gently tear it open. And we're going to sprinkle it on the surface. It's just a white powder. And this helps the yeast to do its job really, really well. It's kind of like giving the yeast some vitamins. And we're going to give that a good stir in. Make sure it's all nicely dissolved. Lovely. Now we do our next packet, which is our wine yeast. And again, gently open that because we don't want to lose any of this. And again, what we do is we sprinkle that on. And again, we give it a good stir. A nice vigorous stir to get it all the way down in. Get it right down in, look. Okay. Right, now what we need to do, we need to take our lid, We're going to pop it down like that, and we're going to press down on 2 sides. And we're now going to put this in a warm cupboard. For it to be a 7-day wine kit, ideally it needs to be about the 24 to 26 degrees mark. However, if you're okay for it to take a little bit longer, ideally you want to put it into a cupboard at about 18 to 20 degrees. It's going to take a little bit longer to ferment than the 7 days or the next few days, but it should still be fine. So I'm going to put this into a cupboard now at 20 degrees, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to check it in 5 days time, and hopefully it should have finished fermenting. Kit's been in my warm room now for 5 days, and in the instructions it says on the 5th day to take a hydrometer reading, and as long as it's below 0.995 we're ready to go to the next step. So here's my sample in my trial jar, and it's coming out and it's telling me it's 0.994, so we're ready to go on to the next step. Right, let's get that out of the way for the moment. So the next step is we need your sachet up here, James, of stabiliser. What we need to do is we need to open that up. Just be careful you don't get any of the dust. Don't breathe any of the dust in, that's what I'm trying to say. Sprinkle that on like so. And then we're also going to want one of the square sachets, which is the slightly pearlescent colour, of Finings A, key cell sol. And we need to just open that up very gently. Hope if my scissors were to work. And in that goes. Okay. And I need to give this really good, thorough stirring. Really thorough. And that'll keep us going for a few minutes worth of stirring, this will. Oh, right. Back to me then, James. Okay, I've given that a really good stirring for the last couple of minutes. And what we need to do now is we need to pop our top back on. We need to leave this for an hour. Our wine's been sat in our bucket for an hour, and the next thing we need to find in our box, come on in James, is this big packet of Finings Chitozan. And what we need to do with this is we need to first of all give it a good shake. Take the top off. Cut the top off. Ooh. Give it a good mix in. Get it all out. Lovely. And now give it a good stir in. Really get it in. Make sure it's all fully combined in there. Okay. Pop the lid back on. And we're going to leave it for another hour. So another hour's passed, and pop the lid off. We've got another packet up here, James, of Finings A key cell sol. You should have had 2 packets of this in. This is the time now to add this packet, and we simply snip the top off. And in it goes. We give this a good stir. So these 3 packets of key cell sol and chitozan and, excuse me. These 3 packets of 2 packets of key cell sol and the 1 packet of chitozan. That's the Finings. When we're talking about Finings, if you haven't heard about what that is what's going to get all the sediment, come back to me James, is going to get all the sediment clumping up together, and then they all clump up together again. Because they then become heavier, they start sinking down to the bottom, right at the bottom of the bucket here. all the sediment will build up. So we need to get it all mixed in, and then you would have also had a big packet like this. We're doing the Chardonnay kit, so this is a packet of Chardonnay. If you're doing any of the other kits, of course, you'll get a slightly different packet. And now what we do, very carefully, we take the lid off of that. Sometimes when you look at these packets, you can see that it's separated out, but don't worry too much, just snip the top off, pour it in. You can even get a good swish like that, make sure you've got all the flavouring in. Lovely. And we're going to give it a good stir. Make sure it's all in there. Okay, I've raised the bucket up onto my worktop. Come on and have a quick look at this, James, and see how horrible and murky and... Anyway, yes, not looking very much like wine at the moment. So what we're going to do is we pop our lid on and we're going to move it to somewhere that is going to sit now for the next 24 hours without being moved, without being disturbed, and it's got to be somewhere that we're going to be able to siphon from the bucket, so we're going to be able to need to put a bucket underneath. So I'm going to leave this here for 24 hours undisturbed, and as I explained earlier, all the findings are going to get to work, and all that murkiness in the wine is going to suddenly disappear out. We'll show you tomorrow, and you'll find all the sediments down at the bottom of the bucket, and we'll have some lovely clear Chardonnay ready to bottle. So our wine's been sat now for 48 hours. I know I said 24 hours yesterday, but I looked yesterday and it wasn't quite as clear as I'd like it. Come on in, Jason, have a quick look at this. And the difference is really good. The findings is done everything it needed to do. It's clumped all of those particles together, and if you look down at the bottom of the bucket, you'll see a thin line, and this is all our sediment. So what we now need to do is we need to siphon the wine in here off of this sediment in the bottom into a new, clean, sterilised bucket. And the way we're going to do that is by using one of these. And now this is a simple siphon, and we have a few other different ones. This one's got a tap on the end. I don't really want that at the moment. That's for use when you're bottling and things like that. But this end has a little long plastic tube and a little thing that pops off, and this helps prevent getting any sediment in the bottom into our second bucket. So what do? Simply pop it in the top, not down too far. I've only gone down to about there, and now we give a good suck. Keep going until you've got all the wine through, and then pop that end into the bucket and it'll start siphoning through. And this end here, you just need to keep it going down and down and down, trying not to touch the sediment in the bottom of the bucket. Now, it does take a bit of time to do this, so one of the most important things you'll need is something to keep you going. I finished siphoning the wine into the second bucket, and I didn't disturb any of the sediment, so I've got nice clean wine in here now. So, this is a good time. I'm quite lucky at the bottom of my bucket I've got a tap. Let's have a quick taster. It's quite good. See, really clear, nice colour. Very mellow, buttery. It's got good sweetness. Yeah, I can see that's going to be alright. That's actually very drinkable right now. I think though, it's best to be left for a month after you've bottled it. Ideally a little bit longer if you can. So, let's get on to bottling. We're going to need about 30 bottles, ideally green ones, wine bottles. All need to be sterilised, and you can view one of our videos on how to sterilise if you've not seen how to do bottles. And we're going to need again to use our siphon, and this time we need to pop the tap end on. Again, exactly the same as last time. What we're going to do is pop the end in, we're going to give a good suck, and we're going to turn the tap off. Come down to our bottle, come down here James, and on it goes. And ideally what you need to do is we need to bring it up to just about that level, so we're going to be able to get a cork in a moment. However, back to me James. I've been doing this for some time, and siphon it into bottles like that takes a bit of time. So the reason for my tap on the bottom of my bottle is I've got this handy little piece of kit which is called a little bottler. And that just simply fits on there. It's got a little valve at the bottom. I need to turn my tap on. You see a little valve at the bottom. All of a sudden wine shoots up through. Let me get rid of the table. I'll show you what to do. On the little bottler we literally just pop the wine bottle up and we press it upwards and it starts filling up from the bottom. Really quick, really easy. And then what happens is we're going to take this right to the top. And when it gets right to the top we're going to lower the bottle down. So right to the top, right there, lower the bottle down. We've got the perfect amount of wine in our bottle. Simple and easy as that. Right, I've got another 29 bottles more to do, so we'll see you in a moment. It's taken me a little bit of time to bottle up my wine, and what I've done is in a saucepan, I've just brought to the boil some water, and I've literally just dropped our corks in it, taken it off the boil, and leaving it in there for the next minute, because what we need to do is just corking, and this helps to soften the corks to go inside the bottles. Now here I'm using my trusty old corker that I've had for years. There are different variations of corkers on the market. There's little hand corkers, there's two-handle corkers, whatever you feel comfortable with, you use. But this is the way I do it. So I take my cork, my steaming cork, and I pop it in like that. Close it together, give a good squeeze, makes a nice little hole ready for it to go in. Pop my bottle onto a tea towel, and come on in James, see if you can see this. Give a good old swish down, and done! One bottle of Chardonnay. Now to do the rest. So I finished bottling the wine. There was a little bit left over, which filled our wine glass here. Now I've almost finished my glass of parsnip wine that I've been drinking all the way through bottling all of this. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's strong. But no, might as well drink the rest of the Chardonnay. Cheers! And happy making Solomon Grundy Wine Kit.